GA Flashback Friday. I hope you guys are having a fantastic, magical, wonderful start to your weekend. I know I am. It is 81 and sunny outside. I am soaking up the springtime weather. Besides the fact that I am so sore today, I cannot move. If you notice, I'm like lounged out. I have to sit like this today or this video won't happen. As you guys know, I've been working out for a while now, and I thought I had it. Like, I thought I had it down to where, like, I knew when I could push myself, and I knew when I could do something different. And so last night, while I'm all up on the Facebook, just trolling around, I come across this, like, thing that says Katy Perry Dark Horse leg workout. I'm like, oh, it's a leg workout. I got this. So I watch it. It's like it's the length of the song. And they're not doing anything I have not done before. I'm thinking, okay, I've got this. I don't got this. Because you do this workout to the beat of the song. Hell to the no. I am so sore today, I cannot move. So what did I do this morning when I woke up and found out I could not move? I rolled out of this bed like a caterpillar and went to the gym. Because you're supposed to work through the pain. I'm working through the pain, all right. I'm working to walk. I'm working to sit. I'm working to chew. I cannot move. I am so sore. Like the pain that's going up my butt into my back, and it's awful. So I've said it once and I will say it again. Working out is a trap. But we're not here to talk about my sad state of affairs or the fact that I'm sitting like I'm getting ready to crawl into bed, or the fact that I had to roll out of bed this morning. We are here for GA Flashback Friday, where we recap one of our past episodes of Ghost Adventures, and today we are on Season 2, Episode 2, which is Castillo de San Marcos. So here we go, yo. As always, I like to give you guys a little bit of brief history before I break down the lockdown. And Castillo de San Marcos was built in St. Augustine, Florida in the 1600s. St. Augustine, Florida, by the way, is the oldest city in the United States. It was founded in 1565 by Spanish conquistador Ponce de Leon. And the fort was actually built to protect St. Augustine from the British. Now, this freaking fort, if you look at it from like an aerial view, it is the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. It is made out of coquina shells and coral. It is absolutely like the most sturdy thing I've ever seen. It has survived 15 individual battles and 2 sieges. Holy kitty cow. If it can handle that, and we're talking like cannon fire, gunfire, if it can handle that, it's got the badass seal of approval in my book. Okay? Okay. Now, because obviously of the 15 battles and the 2 sieges, there is a lot of death involved, and when we talk about death, sorry. It's so sad. I'm just going to chill. Now, before my muscles interrupted me, when we talk about death, we're talking massive amounts of death. Everything from the British to Native Americans to pirates, including one named Andrew Ranson, who ship crashed on the shore. He was taken captive and actually, like, what did they call it? I have it in my notes. Like, groated him to death, which I guess is like where they pin him up against like a piece of wood and tie like a rope around his neck, and then put a metal rod through the knot and just twist it. Whatever. Wrong on so many levels. Now, the hills around the fort are actually all unmarked graves. Now, this is like a tourist spot. And the tour guide that was giving Zach and the guys like the walkthrough was talking about how they affectionately tell people while they're rolling down the hill, if they happen to see something coming out of the ground, just push it back in, because it's more than likely like a bone. Are you kidding me? Fail at life. Now, along with the fort, the guys went across the water to Anastasia Island, which was inhabited by the French, that the Spanish actually attacked and captured 250 French and killed them all on the beach. Now, when they go over there, they're like they're walking through and learning about all the history of it. And Zach decides it's a great idea right before lockdown to take a water bottle full of sand and take it back with him to the fort to like taunt the Spanish with. Because that's smart. right? Right. And that kind of leads us into lockdown. He ended with going over to Anastasia Island where the massacre occurred and getting the sand and coming into lockdown. Now, typically I do lockdown breakdown, which is like a breakdown of my favorite moments and scariest moments, which I'm going to do with a twist. This episode had so many moments in it that I could not break them individually down or we'd be here for 5 hours. So I'm just going to pick some of my favorites. Now, this was like a breeding ground for weird noises. Like, they got growls, and they got screams, and unexplained voices. Now, there has been a history of Native Americans being captured there, and we all know how well that goes. Nothing good comes out of Native Americans being killed in a bad way. And one of the Native Americans that were killed there actually had his head chopped off and was, like, carried around in a bag. So that makes for one pissed off Native American. So there were tons of growls, there was like a scream, there was footsteps, and actually a set of footsteps leads us into one of the scariest moments of the show, which is the guys are all in a room where it was an artillery room for a while, but then it became like a prison cell, and the Spanish would take people captive and pin them against the wall with shackles and leave them there to rot. And when they discovered this room in the 1800s, when the Americans discovered this room, that's when they discovered the bones in this secret room. And I was like, can you imagine being like sealed into a room that reminded me and the guys of like the Edinburgh vaults in Scotland? But can you imagine being hung by your wrists in this room, just left there to die? Not on my bucket list, just saying. So they went into this room where they had originally heard a scream. And they decide, since they're getting so much activity, they're going to set up like an X-cam there to film it all. So they send Aaron back to go get more equipment. And while Aaron's gone, out of nowhere, he comes like screaming back. He's like, dude, dropping F-bombs, typical Aaron style, completely freaking out. And they're like, what is going on with you? And he's like, something just ran up on me and there's nothing there. Well, duh, there's nothing there. It's a ghost. But beside the point. And they actually had caught this on another static night vision camera in like the money room where Zach had set up like an EMF detector, like an EM pump and some money. And straight up, you hear these footsteps and it sounds like somebody is running on a wooden floor, but it's concrete out there. And they're trucking. And then you hear Aaron's reaction. I jumped off this bed. I was like, are you kidding me? Those footsteps were so clear and so loud. No. And it was so weird that it sounded like it was on a wooden floor. But in an interview earlier in the show, another eyewitness had said the same thing. Like, it sounded like boots on a wooden floor. So it makes you wonder if at one point there was like some sort of a wooden building there, like a building there with a wood floor. It was just a great piece of evidence, and it was one of the scariest moments in the show because of Aaron's freak out. But that was back when Aaron freaked out about everything. So it wasn't too surprising that he freaked out, but it made us all jump. Now, another scary moment, which actually, I'm not going to lie, made me fall off this bed today and when I watched it originally. They are in the room with where they found the bones. And they're hearing all these noises, and all of a sudden, Zach's like, I'm getting cold, and something like rushes through him, drops him to his knees, and of course, Zach is like, oh my God, and hits the ground. And everybody's like, dude, what is going on with you? And he feels this blast of cold air hit him and go through his body. We all know I'm a chicken. I will do anything. Once. Twice if I like it. And I've never really had like a hardcore paranormal, like I've heard things, I've seen shadows. I've never had anything mess with me. But I know now that I've opened my empath abilities up way more than I used to, and I've really opened myself up to more, and I'm becoming more sensitive to my environment. I know the day is rapidly approaching. I don't know how well I'm going to handle that. I'm probably going to have the same reaction Zach did. I'm going to fall on my face and freak out and cry. Zach didn't cry, but I will cry. I just cannot imagine. Like, I can't even fathom what that feels like. And I know a lot of you guys have had those paranormal experiences. I'm down just so I can say, you know, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. But I'm going to freak the F out. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm going to die. I'm going to cry, probably pee my pants, stroke out, have a heart attack, do all of the above. But I'm looking forward to the day. But I freak out every time watching the show. Like, I can't imagine what it's going to do, like, when it happens to me, because I freak out for Zach. Like, Zach doesn't have to freak out, because I freak out enough for the both of us. Just saying. So, the two scariest moments in the show are what Ghost Adventures fans live for. And this episode was just full of those, like, chaotic moments. It was so chaotic. And that's why I really couldn't do, like, a traditional lockdown breakdown, because it was so chaotic all the time. They constantly heard things. They would try to hear something over here, and then something else would happen over here, and then something would mess with, you know, Nick over here, and something would mess with Aaron over here, and then something would make Zach fall over. It was just a chaotic episode. It was so hard for me to break it down into, like, pieces of moments. However, there is a Best Evidence Award. And the Best Evidence Award goes to the end of the show when the guys are using we've seen it before at Penhurst, but it was the little data box with the glasses. And it has a little database word bank in it, and they're using it, and they're getting all these words that ultimately lead them to the roof of the fort, where they is said to see a man walking around with a lantern. And sure enough, on one of the X-cams off to the left, there is a little flickering of a light, like someone's striking something, and then there's a solid light, and it kind of walks away. It looks just like somebody lighting a lantern and walking away. It was the coolest piece of evidence, and they had it analyzed at the end of the show by a local paranormal investigator, and he said the same thing. He was like, that's insane. Like, that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like someone lighting a lantern and walking away. And so we did have a Best Piece of Evidence Award, and it happens to go to Lantern Man walking away. So guys, that's really all I have for GA Flashback Friday. Overall, Castillo de San Marcos is one of my favorite episodes on the freak out factor, because so much happened. It was so insanely chaotic that you fall in love with it, because that's what Ghost Adventures fans want. They don't want an episode where, like, very minimal happens, and so much happened that I couldn't break it all down. So I just picked out my favorite parts. I picked out the best moments, and I am now going to do absolutely nothing but soak my sore muscles, go eat some junk food, and enjoy my weekend. But I will see you guys on Monday for GA Recap Monday, where I recap the newest episode of Ghost Adventures Aftershocks. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, stay warm or cool, depending on where you're at in this wonderful country. But I think everything is starting to finally warm up, and I will see you guys Monday.